now, you're tuned into RBLR, the home of Tampa Bay's Reveler Sports.
What's going on, RBLR Nation? You are tuning into the Rays version of our podcast. I am your host, Zach Blaine, and here with me is the one and only, the most amazing host I could possibly ask to host a show with, Mr. Ben Whitelaw. How you doing today, brother?
Hey, how's it going, Zach? I'm good.
Hey, good deal, man. Love to hear it. Crazy week of baseball, it felt like.
Yeah, a lot of really exciting ups and downs here. The Rays dropped 2 out of 3 against the Twins at home, and then they go out and sweep the Athletics in Oakland for the first time in forever in franchise history. And now we just rattled off back-to-back wins against Seattle. So fun stuff.
Yeah, Seattle was a team that I was a little bit worried about, not going to lie, after last time we played them. So it's nice to see them putting up good numbers against them so far this series.
Yeah, and Seattle's got like a decent team. So, to be able to do that, what they've done, so far this season is pretty impressive. So I'm happy about that.
Yeah, so any big news that we should go over prior to, kind of going over the week of the games?
I wouldn't say huge groundbreaking news, but as we know, Josh Lowe gets optioned to AAA this week when they had to, do that roster crunch thing. Not unexpected in my opinion. It's a crowded outfield, but I don't know. How did you feel about that roster move?
Yeah, I'm not to brag on you too much, but I think that you called it last week. uh, it was just something that I wasn't surprised to see. He's one of our top prospects now, so it's kind of like, when are we going to get him? When are we going to get him? But you're exactly right. Our outfield is so crowded that there's just no room for him right now.
Yeah, I mean, there was going to have to be a trade or an injury before he, gets up to the big leagues again, but that's fine. Ji-Man Choi got put on the IL this week. He's actually pretty close to returning, but that allowed Isaac Paredes to make his Rays debut this week. So that was pretty cool to see him finally.
Yeah, I figured you'd be excited about that one.
I mean, he's been solid, pretty good defense at third so far. He's not hurting himself, and he's putting together some good at-bats. So, he'll probably go back down when Choi is healthy, but he's been nice as like a fill-in type of player.
And then I think the biggest news, the news that you were probably most excited about, Yarbs made his season debut, man.
Yeah, I was really looking forward to it. I know we're going to get into that game. Mixed bag of results, but overall it was still pretty positive. And with Yarbs coming back from the IL, Phoenix Sanders got placed on the IL, so tons of roster moves. We also had Francisco Mejia return from his COVID-related absence, and then Rene Pinto got sent back down to AAA. But I am a huge Pinto fan after his stint with the Rays right now. It was amazing.
Yeah, that was going to be my comment on it, is that I'm honestly a little bit disappointed to see Pinto get optioned, which I didn't think I'd be saying last week.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be Mejia's job as the backup for now, but I said it before the season started, like Pinto and Proctor are not going to make it easy on Mejia, and with the way, he's playing defense, I wouldn't be surprised to see them add Pinto as like a third catcher when rosters expand in September, and maybe move Mejia to like a DH type thing, because it's been pretty bad, to put it nicely. But no, his bat's fine, so he can still swing it. But yeah, I really like Pinto. I think he's going to be the number one in the not too distant future.
Yeah, I can agree with that 100%.
All right, so anything else before we get into the games, or?
Yeah, no, that's all the news that I had. I say news, it's not really big news, but that's all the extra stuff I had. And we can go right into the familiar face and Chris Archer coming to, or us playing him against McClanahan.
Yeah, I like him. He's like really cool. He's a cool guy. I like that he shows his emotion out there, but he pitched so bad, but it got so lucky. It was insane. Like, he had a 655 FIP on the day, a 111 BABIP against him, and he had a really great result. And that's so frustrating, because he was like on the verge of just getting he was on the verge of getting lit up. So was a little unfortunate.
Yeah, and to see McClanahan come out and like talking about someone getting lucky with bad stuff. I feel like it was kind of the opposite with McClanahan. Like he threw 5 innings and he did so good with 11 Ks, but then he still got hit hard and gave up 3 earned runs. So it's kind of one of those things where I don't think he deserved to get the L, but he did, kind of a deal.
Right, and I was kind of surprised that Cash left him out there to face who was it, like Kyle Garlick or whatever that was just destroying him that day. Um,
Yeah,
that's a really uncharacteristic move from Cash. Maybe he was trying to prove a point or something. I don't know, because it's not a move that he normally makes. But yeah, he left him out there too long. I tweeted like, okay, I'm fine with McClanahan in his 6 innings. Like, get him out of there. He goes back out to start the 7th, and he gets rocked. But he still had a 0.89 expected FIP on the day, so like the home run ball was a little inflated there. So it wasn't terrible, but Cash definitely could have pulled him, and the Rays might have got away with a win there. But either way, his curveball looked great, 71%
yeah.
whiff rate on that. So he was solid, just left out a little too long.
Yeah, and I mean, it doesn't help when everyone on the offensive side is essentially not getting hits. We didn't have anyone in the entire lineup that hit more than one ball, and not very many people even hit one ball.
Yeah, it kind of just felt like, if Archer's going to have that kind of luck, like the Rays just weren't going to win that day, and they didn't. So yeah, it was a little unfortunate. I liked Whistler in that game too. I thought he looked pretty solid, but that was really all I had for that game.
Yeah, that's pretty much all that I had for the game. It wasn't something to write home about for sure.
No, but I also just remembered Javi Guerra got DFA'd after that game. He took one for the team and ate
Yeah.
up a couple innings, but he cleared waivers and he actually made it to Durham. So that's pretty cool because I like his stuff. I think he's a bit of a long-term project, but yeah, I'm happy he was able to stick around.
Yeah, happy to see him. I wish I could say that I'm surprised he stuck around, but his performance in the majors so far this year has not been very impressive.
Yeah, I mean, it's his 3rd year as a pitcher. He used to be an infielder, so he throws like 99 though, which is really cool, and I hope they can harness that. But yeah, he's definitely not a pitcher yet. He's more of just a thrower, but I think the Rays can, if any team can work on him, it'll be the Rays.
Yeah, I think that's the team for any struggling pitcher to go get worked on.
Right. So I guess we can move on to the next game unless you had something else there.
Nope, that was it for me. In the next game, Minnesota puts up another 9 runs against us. This was a Fleming's start, Fleming's start. Comes out and throws 3.2 innings of just ball is the best way I could describe it.
Yeah, it wasn't his best game for sure. A little unlucky with the 33.3% home run to fly ball rate. Just I mean, he had like, I think a 65% ground ball rate. I forgot to write it down, but everything was a ground ball except for like 1 or 2 of the balls in play. And they were just hitting every single hole, which, we kind of saw that again last night. We're going to get into that, but it sucks because he gets the ball in play that he wants to get. Like he wants the ground ball, but it just somehow gets through every time. And yeah, I don't know why the Rays defense just looks like a little league team whenever he's pitching, but
Yeah, exactly.
it's frustrating. But I know, over 100 innings, 150 innings, it'll even out. But yeah, it just kind of sucked. But it is what it is. Josh Winder was pitching the game of his life for some reason, so it didn't feel like the Rays were going to win that one either.
Yeah, and it doesn't help that Minnesota's offense is just apparently insane. I know we talked about like last game how our offense didn't come to play. I don't think they had that at all in Minnesota this week.
No, they were really hot coming into that series, and it showed. Like they were scoring like I think 7 or 8 runs a game for like 5 games in a row heading into the series against the Rays. So it was just their series, and those are going to happen. But at least the Rays were able to steal one game. That kind of helps. Because getting swept at home sucks. But Some silver lining is Randy started to heat up that game. He had a
Yeah.
588 expected batting average on the day. Rene Pinto was the best framer in the league on that day too. Like his defense was great. So a couple of good things, but overall, just the Twins were just better that day. So it is what it is.
Yeah, see, and that's one of those things where like I feel like the Twins, like I'm not upset that we lost those games. I feel like the Twins honestly came out and beat us. That's one of the few times I can say that I think we actually got beat by the other team and not by something that we did or by the umps.
That's a really good point because like I've been keeping track of, how many times have the Rays like really been competitive in games, and it's most of them, but yeah, those last two games against the Twins, they just got flat out beat. So, at least they didn't beat themselves, but a loss is still a loss. So it sucks, but I don't know. It didn't feel like the world was ending, like some people on Twitter were making it out to be. But every team is going to win 50 games and lose 50 games, no matter who you are, except for the Reds. They're probably not going to win 50 games.
No,
I think they'd
no.
be lucky, but most normal teams that are not trying to sabotage themselves are going to win at least 50.
Yeah, and I agree with that completely. But I mean, we got right back into winning. The very next game on Monday, we came out and beat the Athletics 6-1. Um, another, see, he got the win, but I don't want to say great performance. Another solid performance by Rasmussen.
Yeah, I've been really confused by him, and I feel like I've made that very well known in every aspect of my life. But he's the worst best pitcher I've ever seen in my life. He threw 83 pitches that game, and 38 of them had an expected whiff rate of 30% or higher, which is like elite. But he got like what, two or three strikeouts? Like it's just
Yeah,
they're
he had
supposed to
three
miss.
strikeouts.
It's insane. Like he's supposed to get so much more swing and miss than he actually does, but for whatever reason, he doesn't. He still only allowed 3 hard hit balls, and his fastball command was excellent. He put it right where he wanted to, pretty much every pitch, and he had a 2.48 FIP, so he was good. But like, if they just swung and missed like a little bit more, like they're technically supposed to be doing, he probably would have gone like 7 or 8 innings with at least 5 or 6 strikeouts. So it is what it is. He still pitched well, got the win. Bullpen looked great. So yeah, I'm just confused by him a lot.
Yeah, the bullpen looked amazing, and like I know that we've kind of been obviously we always say that because our bullpen is just very good, but over the whole what they have 4 innings of bullpen arms, and they gave up 1 hit, so kind of tied exactly what Rasmussen did with no earned runs. Phoenix Sanders looked very, very good in that game.
Yeah, and then I was that the game where he hurt. Yeah, that's the game where he got hurt because then Yarbrough pitched the next game. But
Yeah,
him and Jason Adam, Andrew Kittredge, they all had a whiff rate over 30%. Just everybody did their job that game. It was pretty nice. And also Randy again was showing that he's heating up with a 320 expected batting average, 3 hard hit balls. Yeah, it was awesome.
yeah, and I feel like we can't go on without talking about how Margot is heating up as well.
Yeah, that was the next thing I was going to talk about. He had a 509 weighted runs created plus that game. So 409% better than the average hitter. So
Yeah, and
really, really
he went
solid
three
game.
for four.
Yeah, I mean, any multi-hit game from him is going to include some extra bases because
Yep.
he put on like, some muscle. He's not like a third, fourth corner outfielder, skinny speed guy. Like he's a pretty, well put together guy, and it's starting to show. And we saw that last night. Obviously, he's got some pop.
Yeah, well then we get into so we go from a really just confident win from Tampa, like an expected win, what we want to see, to a 10-7 extra innings win that I felt like was never going to end.
Yeah, that was a fun game.
It was so late. I remember like watching the game and then I turned it off for a minute and I came into my room to lay down and I looked, it was like midnight and the game was still on, so I was like, well, I can't really go to bed with the game still being on. So I ended up staying up watching that whole game, and it was just that 10th inning was amazing. It was so exciting.
Yeah, and I feel like it's a little overlooked, but Kevin Cash like pulled all the right strings in that game. He did everything right from the pitching substitutions to Zanino pinch hitting. The Rays had a 312 expected batting average on the day versus a 261 for Oakland, so they deserve to win. It just took a little while to see that result happen, but I'm really impressed with Jeffrey Springs. He just came out. He's a bulk guy now. Apparently, he just pitches like 2-3 innings and is dominant. So it's amazing. 38% whiff rate for him. Whistler had a 67% on the day. Like he was really feeling it. Everybody contributed offensively. Bullpen looked great. Jason Adam got a little unlucky, but yeah, I was really happy with the offense.
All right, so I feel like we have to get into it a little bit. Your boy Yarbs comes out, and this is my issue with it and why I tweeted about him. I feel like I know it's his first start of the season. It's going to be a little bit choppy, but I feel like it's the same story almost every time he pitches, where we're always playing from behind when he pitches.
Yeah, it does feel like that sometimes. He's hitting his spots. He's doing everything he's supposed to do, but a lot of these pitches or a lot of these hits are just. It's similar to Fleming because they're both like they're not swing and miss guys, so they're going to be more balls in play. But he's getting the weak contact. He's throwing the ball where he needs to, and it just happens to not go into a glove for whatever reason. I thought the defense was solid behind him, but the in the first or no second inning, whenever he gave up the grand slam, he had to get 5 outs that inning. The defense let him
I think
down
that
a
was
bit.
the second, yeah.
Second? Okay, yeah. The defense let him down a bit. There was an infield single that probably shouldn't have been an infield single. Umpire, I don't know how he missed a call on the bases loaded walk. That was a perfectly placed cutter. I don't think he could have walked over there and put it in the zone any better than he did, but it's a walk, so he walks in a run. And then the grand slam pitch was about like 6 inches in off the plate, so it had an expected run value of -4, but it turned into 4 actual runs, which I thought was kind of ironic. But it's just everything, like he's doing what he's supposed to do, and it's getting hit. I like that the velocity was up, and
Yeah, I will agree with that.
yeah,
I will agree that looked he didn't, and that's what was weird is that he didn't look bad. Like watching the game, he didn't look like something was wrong. It just looked like he was getting hit no matter what he was doing.
yeah. I mean, he had 2 perfectly placed changeups in that inning as well that were like just below the zone that were singles, and then the cutter in off the plate that's a grand slam. It's he looks good because he's pitching well. The results are just not happening for him in that game, and it's going to happen, but he grades out super well on a lot of different metrics. I've been like really into the pitching bot stuff lately on Twitter, so that's
Yeah,
been cool.
I've been
But
seeing it.
and I actually like I DM the guy who like runs the thing. It's like his PhD project or whatever. And I'm like, hey, is there like can you do this feature? And then he did it. So that was kind of cool. He added like an expected run value like based on the count and pitch. So like Yarbrough who throwing like a changeup in a 2-1 count has a whatever expected run value. So I thought that was really cool. Gives me something to waste a couple hours on every day. But yeah, it sucks, but I'm glad that the data is like backing up the eye test that he's fine because it would make me feel kind of sad because I like him a lot.
And just to correct us, it was the first inning that grand slam was hit, not the second.
Okay, that game was a blur, honestly. Just a roller coaster,
exactly.
But yeah. So
well, we got in that game. I mean, we got a Phillips home run, we got a Zanino home run, we got Zanino getting multiple hits, which is wild.
Yeah, that's pretty rare.
Yeah, it seems like it doesn't happen really ever, but I'm here for it. I am all for it.
Yeah, and seeing that game like with Yarbrough, he doesn't throw the hardest, but it started making me think like whose fastballs in the game are like really good. So I started looking on Savant, and based on whiff rate, there are no fastballs in the top 10 pitches, like in the top 10 like best pitches in the game, like whether it's Aroldis Chapman's fastball or like Charlie Morton's curve, like that kind of stuff. Like the best fastball is actually Jalen Beeks, and that's ranked 47th. So like fastballs really aren't that great of pitchers. They're more like setup pitches in a way. I don't know. I thought it was really interesting that Jalen Beek's fastball was the only pitch in the top 100 that I was able to see. So like, I don't know. I just thought it was interesting because Ryan Yarbrough gets criticized a lot for like not throwing hard, but you really don't need to throw hard because the hard pitches aren't the ones that get the best results. It's the off speed and the
Yeah.
breaking stuff. So, yeah, I just kind of want to throw that out there because I thought it was really cool. But fastballs aren't typically that great, I guess. They're good,
No,
but not great.
that's interesting. I never thought about it like that as far as like off speed stuff being the what's the proper word, saucy, being like that's the go-to now, and that's
Yeah.
wild.
And like it's cool to see guys throw triple digits, but it's really not the most effective thing in the world. We see that with Shane McClanahan. Like his fastball is cool, but it's probably his worst pitch, which is interesting
exactly.
because it's so hard. So yeah.
But then you think about it, like it's also throwing triple digits has got to be more wear and tear on the arm than throwing a curveball.
Yeah, I think it would be. I don't know the exact like numbers behind that, but it probably doesn't feel too good on your elbow to throw that hard.
And that's kind of my thoughts.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And that kind of leads into our next game where we have another, soft tossing starting pitcher in Corey Kluber, but he was dealing.
Yeah, no. That's 2 games in a row now where I think the last show that we talked bad about him was the show that it was you were on vacation and Eureka and I were talking, and he had just one of the worst outings I've ever seen from a starting pitcher. And he's came in and played 2 games now. That's kind of made me shut up a little bit.
Yeah, he was solid. He had a 55% whiff rate on his sweeper. I'm trying not to call it a curve anymore because he calls it like his breaking pitch, because it's really not a curve. It's a sweeper, but he had a great results on that pitch. He only allowed 3 hard hit balls. And in my game notes before that, I said that I wanted to see him mix his pitches a little bit better because he was getting like drilled second and third time through the order, and he did that.
Yeah.
So maybe he secretly read it or somebody read it to him. I don't know. But he had a 1.24 FIP on the day and really looked incredible.
Yeah, and then we had just the bullpen come in and allow 1 hit over three innings. So I think that our pitching staff is legitimately just one of the best in the league and continues to prove that.
Yeah, Fireisen and Poche both had swing and miss rates over 30%. Kittredge looked okay. He wasn't great, but he was good enough. He's better than that typically, but bullpen was great, like you said. Just awesome performance.
And something that's interesting to me, and it's kind of just a weird, I guess, thought, but Fireisen came in and threw 10 pitches over an inning, 1 1/3 inning, and had 10 strikes.
Yeah, that's what he does sometimes. Like, I mean, he definitely like wants to get swing and miss, but he's able to fill up the zone and kind of blow his, 93, 94 mile an hour fastball by people. He's got a lot of deception and rise on that pitch, some good spin rates. So he's kind of like a right-handed Poche in that respect.
Yeah, that's a great comparison.
I know Poche has been a little off. I don't really know what it is. It kind of looks like it could be like a release point thing. I know he just came back from Tommy John after being out for a while.
Yeah.
Jalen Beeks probably doesn't make Poche look better because he's coming back from like the same surgery and he's been doing great. So, everybody's body is different. Everybody's arm is different. So I think it's just going to take Poche a little bit more time to, adjust, but he's still shown like flashes of being really good. So I'm cool with that.
Yeah, I think it's going to get better with Poche. I don't have any worries for him as far as his ability to correct himself. But
yeah,
jumping over to the offensive side of things, at the plate, Margot comes up big again, 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs. 2 of the 3 RBIs that we got today are in that game.
Yeah, he was really solid again. He had a pretty great week overall. And I thought Randy, again, I kept writing it down in my notes every time I saw it. He looked great. 242 weighted runs created plus that day. stayed aggressive. I like it when he's aggressive on the base paths. I know he ran into some outs earlier in the season, but you're not a good base runner if you're scared to run the bases, and he's not afraid. So it was really cool that he's staying aggressive, taking an extra base, putting pressure on the defense. It's what he does best, and I'm happy that some early struggles didn't deter him from doing that.
Exactly. Well, then, I mean, that is the entirety of the Oakland series, where we come out, we sweep them, like you said in the beginning, the first time ever in franchise history. Any other notes from that series, or you ready to jump into the Seattle series?
I'm a little disappointed I didn't get to see any of the feral cats that are currently living in the Oakland stadium. I tuned into my perfectly legal stream to look for the cats, and I did not see them, so a little
Not a
disappointed.
single cat.
Yeah, but there's always next year, I guess. I don't know when Oakland's getting a new stadium, but maybe we'll get to see him again.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then we go right into Seattle, and it's a close one. We beat them 4-3 on a solid Shane McClanahan start.
Yeah, nothing too great from him. It wasn't his best game, but he was still pretty solid. His expected run value was a little poor by his standards. Like, he's usually much better than that, but he was lacking the command of his secondary stuff. And surprisingly, his fastball was working, but as we know, that's not his best pitch. So it's but the best pitchers find a way to get it done when their stuff isn't working, and he still was able to turn out a pretty good performance. So overall, I'm happy with it, but I expect him to pitch better in the future.
Yeah, I think you saying you expect him to pitch better in the future is kind of right where my head's at. He needs to be the ace for this team, especially with Glass now out. McClanahan is our number one. He is our guy, and he needs to. That's something that he needs to pitch better. I mean, just flat out.
Yeah, Seattle's not a bad offense though. Like, they can foul off tough pitches. Like, they've got a couple guys up and down the order that really could be all-stars by mid-season, which is weird saying that for a team like Seattle, because I feel like they've never really had such a good offense. But the past couple of years, they're really finding a groove. They've got a pretty good young core. But yeah, the Rays kept him in check. I highlighted Mike Zunino and Yandy before that game in my pregame notes, and Zunino had a 273 weighted runs created plus, and Yandy had a 174. So that was pretty cool. They both had good numbers against Ray coming into that game, and they definitely put up a good performance.
Yeah, I think had we not gotten to Ray early, we wouldn't have won the game.
No, absolutely not.
If I'm not mistaken, all 4 of our runs came off of Ray, and Seattle got all their runs after Ray left.
Yeah, they have a good bullpen too, so it's really important that they were able to kind of ambush Robbie Ray like that. And and then the Rays bullpen is also good. They held it down. Jason Adam again is just coming out of nowhere with a 30% whiff rate, a 0.09 FIP. That's very close to zero. Brooks Raley, we knew he was going to be good, and he continues to show it. 40% whiff rate that game. Poche was a little inconsistent. I think he's trying a little too hard. I'd like to see him literally just throw it down the middle, because they can't hit it. Like, his deception, his rise, his release point, his extension, everything is really good. So he can literally just throw the ball down the middle, and that's probably the best spot for it.
Yeah, and plus it's the most exciting type of baseball, in all honesty.
Yeah, it's really cool to see 93 down the middle, just guys are swinging out of their shoes trying to get it, and they can't. And yeah, he just needs to do that. He's trying to throw it up in the zone, and it's a good location for it, but that's not his game. His game is down the middle, and they will not hit it. Just trust your stuff. So I'm sure he'll learn to trust himself a bit more.
Yeah, I am all for just him. You know what? In all honesty, we can afford to lose a couple games. So if there's a game where you get in, just test your stuff out. Just throw it down the middle. Let's see it. I'm not going to be mad at you.
Yeah, you won't be, but there are going to be a lot of people on Twitter who.
Oh yeah, no, Twitter.
Yeah,
Twitter will be wild, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
us here at RBLR Sports, we support you.
Yeah. And we would support him even more if he went to shop.rblrsports.com and bought a shirt. That might be kind of cool. We
Uh,
still support Poche either way, though.
Yeah, no, and you nailed it on the head. I think that if he were to go and get, I want to say just a Rays shirt, but I think we need to have him buy a Rays inspired shirt, a Bucks one, the Lightning, the Rowdies. We got a Bandit one now, and again, that is shop.rblrsports.com. And Ben, I'm gonna throw it to you. I do this every single week. Give these people a discount code for me.
Yeah, use promo code FLAPPY, FLAPPY for 10% off your order. We don't know how long this deal is going to last. It's been lasting for a while, so it could end at any moment. You never know. Life is fleeting. Death is inevitable, so make sure you get that shirt
We
before
gotta
your
put
time
up,
runs out.
you know how some of those stores put up like going out of business sale, but they've been going out of business for like 8 years.
Yeah.
We just got to get those. The sales coming to an end. Hurry up, guys! Hurry up!
I feel like that's been Kmart for like the past decade. We could
Yeah,
probably borrow some of their signs, honestly.
Kmart, and then there's one in the like Aeropostale or something in the store in the mall. They're like,
Yeah.
it's always 50% off everything. Going out of business sale. You've been out of business for 6 years now, but okay.
Yeah, they're just taking a long time to die off, I guess. I don't know.
Well, we got that out of the way, so we're gonna jump into the final game. Another just weirdly interesting game. Um, we walk away with an 8-7 win.
Yeah, terrible broadcast, pretty bad pitching performance, lots of fun stuff, lots of chaos. It felt like an early April game. Like there was just so many moving
Yeah.
parts. It was great. Um, not a big fan of Francisco Mejia this game. Like I've been trying to be positive, but like that was really hard to watch. I'm kind of glad I got tired and had to go to bed because I can't watch him frame or try to frame pitches for that long. It hurts my eyes.
Yeah, so I have been a huge proponent of Mejia, all the way back from our old shows last season, the off season, everything. Every time I've defended him, and unfortunately, I don't think the 3 for 4 with a run is enough for me to defend the travesty that was his framing last night.
It graded out like okay, but just for every pitcher on the Rays staff, and the Rays have a bunch of good pitchers, if all of them are having a really bad game and having like the worst command of the season, it's not like a bunch of isolated incidents. Like the common denominator of that game was Francisco Mejia. I know it's his first game back from COVID, so he'll improve. He's still young. He's going to get better, but it's not been fun this season. I have some stats on Zanino and Mejia, like comparing them as catchers. So when Zanino is catching, the staff has a 2.64 ERA. When Mejia is catching, they have a 4.88 ERA. Walk rate is higher with Mejia. Strikeouts are lower with Mejia. 586 OPS with Zanino, 731 OPS with Mejia. Less than a home run per 9 innings with Zanino. Almost, it's like 1.68 home runs per game with Mejia. So it's it's kind of really bad. It was a bit better last year, so I know it's going to even out with the sample size, but I I don't see him as the catcher next year if he continues this.
No, if he keeps the rate up that he's doing now, Pinto will be the catcher next year.
Yeah, I like his bat. Like it's been solid, but he really has to account for like 2 runs a game by himself to make up for his catching. So for that to cancel out. I still think he's going to be a part of this team in some capacity. Like I like his bat, don't get me wrong. But I also learned about this I mean, it's not a new stat, but it's new to me because I just figured out what it was. It's called TOPS plus. It's on Baseball Reference. A lot of alphabet soup here, but basically it measures like how good a batter is, um, like compared to themselves against different pitchers. So when Zanino is catching, batters have an 84 TOPS plus. So 100 is average. So when Zanino is catching, batters are 26% worse than they normally are. But when Mejia is catching, it is a 127 TOPS plus, so they're 27% better than their average when Mejia is catching. So he's turning like, the average players into good players. He's turning the average players into great players, just by him being involved in the game. So it's a little frustrating. I'm sure it'll get better, but I had to put that out there because it's pretty bad.
Yeah, no, and I think when you said like everyone kind of had a bad game, like you're not wrong. The only ones that had decent games were Jalen Beeks, JP Fireeisen, and Brooks Raley.
And even their command was way off. Like
Yeah.
Beeks was kind of all over the place. I was surprised he didn't give up like, a walk or, some kind of big extra base hit, but just there's no rhythm. And I know he's coming back from injury or COVID, and I know he's still a young catcher and it takes catchers a while to, get it together. But I'm really high on every player on this team because I love this team, but Mejia he's giving me gray hairs. So
Yeah, I'm
I don't think I
losing.
deserve that.
Yeah, I'm losing a little bit of faith in him, which is weird to say, seeing how I was such a huge proponent of him just 3 months ago.
I mean, he had a pretty good game offensively, and he's been solid offensively this year. But it's when you're a catcher, like the majority of your workload is going to be receiving pitches and like doing work behind the plate. So you only get 3-4 at bats in a game. So, but you're also like receiving like upwards of 150 pitches a game. So it's just the workload and what he's good at doesn't fully match up. Maybe they could try him at first base or something in the future. I don't know. I know the Rays are likely aware of his defensive struggles, or else they wouldn't keep him on the team. Probably there would probably be a move, but he's still good for a backup. But I think we would have had a much better pitching. Actually, I know we would have had a better pitching performance if Zunino was in. So
Zunino or Pinto, in all honesty.
Yeah, Pinto, he's not as good as Zunino, but he's
he's better than Mejia.
Ahead. Yes, definitely. But even so, like the pitchers weren't great by themselves, but they just couldn't catch a break that game. Fleming, he did not have a good start. I've been like not high on Fleming is like, oh my God, he's the best pitcher on the team, but high on him in the sense that like he's better than he gets credit for. I found some really funny stuff comparing him to Garrett Cole and like the trend of how they're going. So that's been nice to like in like a trolling sense, but just not a good game from Fleming. I think he'll be fine. It seemed like his arm angle might have been dropping, and that happened last season too. I don't know. We have to get like maybe one more sample size to see, but it seems like a mechanical thing. But his stuff's still good. It's just he's unable to locate it right now. So hopefully he finds it. But still, awesome game. Really fun.
Yeah, I feel like Fleming had a kind of rough week this week.
He did, definitely. The first game, it wasn't entirely, it was a bunch of ground balls, but this game, he just wasn't hitting his spots.
Exactly. That's kind of that's the vibe that I got from it as well. But Margot comes in,
amazing,
pinch hits in the ninth for a 3-run home run to put us out front to take the win.
Just another really solid move by Cash. I feel like it was kind of the obvious move to have Margot come in there, but he still did it. And Margot had a 1,410 weighted runs created plus in that game. So 1,310% better than average. It's small sample size, one at bat, but that's
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Game. Like that's the game winner. It's at the buzzer. So yeah, it was really, really great home run. Love to see it. And it wasn't a cheap one either. Like he really got a hold of that against a good reliever.
Yeah, I mean, he hit it 416 feet. So this is a very, very good, just solid hit, which, I mean, Arozarena went 4 for 5. We talked about Mejia not having a bad game at the plate. He went 3 for 4. And he does have the highest batting average on the team at 407 right now, but still, like, his defensive struggles are enough for me to maybe put him on the bench for a very long time.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I keep saying he's going to get better, and I'm like trying to manifest it for myself and for him by saying that. So I think he will. It's just it's so frustrating because this team does so many things so well, and to see that happen after the Rays have like they've prioritized defense first catchers for the past like 15 years, and then to see
Yeah.
them get an offense first catcher, it's cool, but I don't know how much of a fan of that I am. But if we do get RoboUmps, I think he would automatically be like a top 5 catcher in the league
Oh
just
yeah.
because, framing wouldn't matter as much. He could literally just focus on sequencing and be a really great catcher. So if we get RoboUmps in the next year or two, they better sign him to a long-term extension.
Well, so that is all of the games this week. Another busy week of baseball. It was weird because it didn't feel very busy like the first couple of weeks did. It was just a good week of baseball. But we do this every week now, and I'm gonna start with you. Give me your arm of the week.
Arm of the week, for me, it's going to be Corey Kluber. He had the highest FWAR among all the pitchers on the team at 0.3. He had a 124 FIP, 31.8 strikeout rate, and a 4.5 walk rate, which is huge for him because he's usually, struggles a little bit with the walks. But he did that in 6 innings pitched. So I like Kluber a lot. I almost gave it to Jason Adam because he had
Okay.
0.2 FWAR in like 3 innings pitched, which was interesting. So really big production from him out of the bullpen. But in terms of just pure value added to the team, Kluber was the top arm.
Okay. See, so my arm of the week was Jason Adam. I finally felt the desire. I didn't see like a starting performance phenomenal enough to blow me away. So I went with Jason Adam for the reasons that you said, and also to me he had impact on more than one game.
Yeah, he was incredibly valuable. I was really like that. Him and Kluber were the two guys I was deciding between. So, yeah, Jason Adam was awesome. I don't understand how he's so good. Because
Exactly.
he grades out well on things. He does everything well, but he still has like an extra gear that I've been trying to figure out. The Rays obviously know what it is, or they wouldn't have signed him. But I don't know. I hope in like a year or two we can get access to whatever data they have, and we can see why. Because he does something really unique and special. I just can't figure it out.
Yep. So that is my pitcher of the week. I'm giving it to a reliever this week, man. It feels good to do that. I can't lie.
Nice. I feel like we're gonna have the same bat of the week.
I sure hope so. Let me hear it.
You want to say it at the same time?
All right. Yep.
One,
One,
two,
two.
three. Margot.
Margot. Yep.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay. Yeah. It has to be.
Yeah. What do you have? 9 RBIs this week.
Yeah, I think it was like 100, but something like that.
It felt like 100. Yeah.
He had a .4 FWAR, which led the team, all hitters, all pitchers. He led everybody. 212 weighted runs created plus. He had the game-winning homer last night, and he also had a 1.04 win percentage added this week. Anything over like 0.1 is good. So he was essentially worth like one entire win, like by himself this week, just with his bat. So that's pretty incredible. He was the most valuable player in the lineup all week. So love that from him. I love that he got an extension, and he plays great defense too.
Exactly, and that's the key for me is that he's not just out there performing with the bat. He plays great defense. The second place guy for me was a Rosarena this week. He was very very good, but he didn't have the impact that Margot had on the outcome of games for me.
Yeah, definitely. And Arozarena's been he's been doing like the same things. He's just finally getting the ball up a bit more. He's
Yeah,
staying aggressive. He's getting some good results. I think didn't he score on second yesterday from like an infield hit that turned into a throwing error, but then also like
yeah,
it was a
yeah.
cool
Because
play.
they got, if I'm not mistaken, someone got out at third. Let me see. It
Yeah,
was
it was Brandon Lau.
Brandon Lau got out at third after the throwing error. Yeah.
But he really didn't get out because like he had a really nice swim move and he got out of the way of the tag, but they called him out on the field and the call did not get confirmed. The call stands or it stood. Stood is the past tense. There we go.
Yeah,
It stood.
the
So something like that. But
the
yeah,
the replay is such a joke in the MLB.
it's so close to being good. It's if they just like pretended that they didn't know what the call on the field was, I feel like they'd get the call right. Like, why do they do that? Why do
Exactly.
they have to have a call in the field? I'm genuinely asking, like, do you, or does anybody who's listening, anybody who hears me right now, like, why do they do it that way?
Yeah, because you think about it, and it's like, if it's a close call, why not just send it right up to the booth? Like the NFL, obviously, we're an MLB show. The NFL show is our Bucks podcast. Highly recommend going and listening to that. But the NFL does it where if it's a close call, like the last 2 minutes, or just for instance, the final 2 minutes of the halves, like it can only be replayed by the officials, and it just gets sent right to it. All touchdowns are instantly reviewed. Why can't we have something like that in the MLB?
I think they just don't care that much, it seems. It feels like they're almost trying to sabotage themselves. Like the Apple TV stuff it's a cool camera, it's a cool idea, but like it hasn't been good. Like the commentators suck. The
Mm-hmm.
coverage is not good. It's like I muted the game because I just could not listen to them. Like it's such a yeah, it was pretty bad. The Oakland broadcast that I listened to in a perfectly legal stream, that one was awesome. Um, but the Apple one that I also listened to in a perfectly legal stream was just abysmal. So I don't know. I hope they get the replay stuff sorted out. It seems like a really easy fix, but maybe we're just too smart at the RBLR think tank over here.
Yeah, so basically what you're saying to Apple is that if you guys need help, just bring on Ben and I. We'll still do our RBLR podcast because that's what we love, but we will be your play-by-plays.
Yeah. But yeah, that's it for the week. That's it for our players of the week. Did you have anything else we wanted to add before we talk about just a couple injuries here?
Nope, that's it for me. Again, to me, it was a great week of baseball. The 2 games that we lost, as weird as it sounds, I feel like we kind of deserve to lose those. As much as I hate to say it, I don't think there was anything that we really got screwed on. So I think that it was overall a good week of baseball.
No, I 100% agree. It's fair. They took care of business in most of the games, but a couple other ones they just probably weren't going to win them, and that's going to happen in baseball.
Yeah, so I hear you got some injury updates for us now after that. There's quite a few of them in here.
Oh my gosh, this is like such a high quality team. It's crazy. Like if we could make it, we did it last week, but like the rotation that's on the IL would be a top rotation in the league. But anyways, yeah, Choi is coming back soon. He should be activated sometime in the next couple days, probably before the Angels series, which is coming up after Seattle. Luis Patino, he's likely back in early June, and I think Shane Baz might be a little bit ahead of him. He's on track to come back the day that he's first eligible, which is June 6th. So Boz is coming back. Patino's coming back. Chagua, he's still playing catch at 90 feet. I think he's going to throw a bullpen soon. Fairbanks, still waiting on his follow-up appointment on May 11th, so we don't really know what's going on there too much. Nick Anderson, though, he's throwing bullpens. He's at full strength throwing bullpens. So it looks like he could be on track to return like ahead of schedule, maybe a little bit before the All-Star break, but I think they're going to not rush it and just let him come back and fully build up his arm strength and, come back in maybe late July. So a lot of guys on their way back though.
Now, I don't know if you saw it or not, but did you catch the video of Glasnow throwing?
I did. He is throwing a baseball. He's on flat ground, so he's not throwing bullpens or anything yet, but like that's really soon to be throwing a baseball after just blowing up your elbow like that. So I'm kind of excited. I'm trying not to get too excited because I don't want to get my hopes up, but
Exactly.
he realistically could pitch in some capacity in October.
Yeah,
it's not out of the question.
And I think that seeing him throw, you had mentioned not getting your hopes up. Seeing him throw so early, I am not as skilled as you are at not getting my hopes up that he will be pitching for us in October.
I think he'll be healthy enough to do it in some way. I just don't know if like a Tyler Glasnow coming back from injury would be better than one of the guys that's been healthy most of the year. I don't know who he would have to like replace on the roster, I guess is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm glad I don't have to make that decision because it seems hard, but it looks like he'll be available. So I don't know if that means he's going to be, used in the postseason, but he'll be available. So he'll likely be available.
And then another little kind of injury, kind of illness. Snyder hasn't been out there the last couple games.
Yeah, I think yesterday might have been his first game back. I
Yeah.
don't fully remember, but the pitching staff kind of sucked a little bit with him out. Like he's not,
Yeah.
telling them exactly what to throw and when to throw it, but like he knows exactly what to say and what to do in certain situations. He's the best pitching coach in the league, so not having him
By
definitely hurt a
far.
little bit. I think we would have seen pitchers make adjustments a bit more quickly if he was there during his absence. But the Rays still won games; they found a way to win. I don't know how much of a difference he would have made in those games they would have lost. They were already probably going to lose, but I think the team definitely hurt without him, and it really shows his value. Like absence makes the heart grow fonder there because he's the guy. Like I'm surprised he hasn't been poached yet to be a manager for some team.
Unfortunately, I think it's coming soon.
Yeah, I hope not. I hope he passes on his wisdom to Aaron Sledgers or something, and then he retires and turns into the Rays pitching coach real quick.
I'll
We just
take
need a
it.
tall guy. Just anybody over 6'8" is qualified to be the Rays pitching coach.
I'll take it. Then is that all for you got for injuries for us, man?
Yeah, that's all the injuries there. I'm still, in terms of other notes, I'm still watching the home run to fly ball rate. Because I said last week I think the ball has changed. It's up a couple percent, not as much as it was on that the game right before we recorded our last episode, but it's still up a bit. Offense is starting to trend upwards, so just got to keep paying attention to that to see if there's any significant change. But it feels like MLB did, bring back those juice balls in some capacity.
Yeah, you're not wrong, and I guess we'll be able to keep up to date with that in the the upcoming games that we have. We've got one more at Seattle, and then we have 3 games in LA against Los Angeles, the Angels, and then we start our homestand against Toronto. So, what do you got? Any predictions or what you're excited for with those games?
I think I said this last time too, but I'm just looking forward to the off day. I feel like this team is going to be gassed, and by the time we're done with the Angels, so they're really going to need a break. It's 13 games in a row. Every team is having these long stretches of games because it's a bit of a condensed schedule, but yeah, I feel kind of bad for some of the players because the fatigue is going to set in and the performance is going to dip a bit. So hopefully they can just take care of business. I want them to sweep the Angels. I think they can do it. I feel like the Angels are a bit of an overperforming team.
Yeah.
So they have Mike Trout. Obviously, they have Ohtani. They're both great players, but I still feel like
Who else do they have though? That's the
yeah,
realistically,
just a bunch of guys that got a little too much money for doing not that much. So their GM
exactly.
though, he spent money this offseason. He's really trying to make the playoffs, and maybe they will, but I don't think they're that strong of a team.
No, I feel bad for both Ohtani and Trout for having to be stuck there for a while.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like they're happy,
Uh,
but I'd be happier on a contender or a consistent contender.
exactly. I can't lie. I am very excited for the Toronto matchup.
Yeah, that's going to be a great series.
And I know we only get one before the next show, but that series I think is going to show us both, 2 different things. One, how ready we are, how we're going to contend with the top of our division, and then also how real Toronto is.
Yeah, I feel like they haven't had the toughest schedule. I know they played New York a little bit. New York's been a decent team. I don't think they're as good as their record shows. I think they're a bit below
Yeah.
that. But I
Well, I
still
hope
think the
so.
Rays and Toronto are the 2 top teams in this division. I think the Rays are 1A. Toronto is maybe even, maybe just a little bit behind. I just don't think they have the pitching to beat the Rays, but
Yeah.
their offense is crazy. So we'll see.
All right. Well, I'm gonna toss it over to you then for the last word. Do you got any last final thoughts or anything?
Yeah, everybody should follow us at RBLR Sports on all the social media things, the Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all that. Make sure you like and subscribe to our podcast. It's free. Everybody loves free. We're on Spotify,
Mm-hmm.
the iHeartRadio app, Apple, Google Podcast. I don't know. I feel like we should be in an encyclopedia somewhere, probably, if they still make those. So we can maybe make that happen. But yeah, thanks everybody for listening. I appreciate it, and go Rays.
Thank you for tuning into this presentation by RBLR Sports. On your way out of the stadium, please remember to like and subscribe.